In the dimly lit recesses of my grand chamber, I reign supreme. I am eternal, a master of shadows and harbinger of doom. Countless heroes have fallen beneath my claws, their valiant efforts reduced to mere whispers of the past. Today would be no different, or so I thought. The latest intruder, an unassuming weakling with more bravado than brains, charged at me with a glowing sword, a mere insect. With a flick of my wrist, I sent him sprawling, a burst of dark energy searing through his armor. He lay there, lifeless, and I turned my back, assured of another victory. But as I began to settle back into my throne, there he was again, unscathed, standing defiantly, my eyes narrowed. Some kind of magic, perhaps. No matter. I dispatched him again, this time with a slight gash on my arm from his desperate swipe. Nothing serious. He would not return. Yet he did. Again and again I smote him down, his lifeless corpse crumbling away. Yet he always returned through my doors, his persistence gnawing at the edges of my confidence. Each time I struck him down, but each encounter left me a bit more battered, a bit more wary. My blows, no longer a guaranteed hit. My injuries, though minor, accumulated and the strain began to show. Throughout this relentless cycle, I began to realize the futility. He was inexorable, his return a constant, his resolve unbreakable. Each battle drained my strength further, each victory a meaningless one. I could not understand how to end his ceaseless assault. He started to get me down to half health, each encounter a little closer to parity. The pattern continued, the rhythm of our combat almost hypnotic. But then, in one particularly fierce clash, I finally struck a blow that seemed to end it. The intruder lay dead. Again, his body crumbled into dust, merging with the ground. And for the first time in ages, he did not return. I remained vigilant, days turning to weeks, yet he did not reappear. Slowly, I allowed myself to believe that the nightmare was over. I resumed my duties, tending to my dark domain with renewed vigor. The memory of his persistence began to fade. But peace, it seems, is never lasting. I was on the verge of conquering the human world. Finally, those treacherous, feeble insects would finally bend and break to my power. But as I was preparing to unleash my armies, he returned. It was as if the gates of hell had unleashed a new demon upon me. He was stronger, clad in thick, glistening armor, wielding the Star Slayer's sword. The legendary weapon set to bring my doom. His eyes burned with an intensity I had not seen before. I was unprepared, but would not fall so easily. Our battles resumed, each one more brutal, more desperate. I could feel my power waning, my wounds growing more severe, harder to heal. I struck him down, just as before. But each time he returned, I felt the weight of his will press against mine. I no longer held the confidence I once had, staring down at that weak thing so long ago. Now, a monster stood before me, and he stood, and he stood again and again. Each time my health drained more and more. The final confrontation was inevitable. Exhausted, bleeding, and driven to the brink, I faced him one last time. He fought with the fury of 1,000 souls, and for the first time, I knew fear. Blow after blow, he whittled away at my strength until with a final shattering blow, he struck me down. As I fell, the world around me darkening, I saw his eyes, determined, unyielding. He had become what I never imagined, a force stronger than my own. In that moment, as my life ebbed away, I understood the true nature of his power. It was not magic or brute strength that undid me, but his indomitable will, and thus the Eternal fell, not with a roar, but with a whisper of defeat at the hands of an unyielding hero.